Because, number one, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the SDR Hotline with the THEE, all caps, Larry Long Jr. Here we go. Welcome, Larry.
Oh, shuck it, duck it now. TGIF. You got a brother looking dapper. I don't even know if I match. My wife said, don't do it. I said, you knows I'm a fool, so
you knows I'm a fool. Listen, here's one thing I do know is that your pocket tissue and your bat match. So I don't know if you planned that, but
I'm colorblind, so I got lucky.
I don't know about the bow tie, but listen, like if we grayscale this out, you look great.
Close enough. I'll take
it. No. Listen.
I'm colorblind, so I'm gambling with it. I'm just trying to flip a coin and figure it out.
No, Larry, you look great. You look great, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But hey, Larry, thank you so much for being a guest today on the SDR Hotline. I mean, you're a friend now. I don't know if you knew this or not, but like you're my friend now. So I'm always happy to be hanging out with a friend, and I'm so thankful that you decided to come here this morning with me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine, TGIF, and I'm just thankful to be here. And shoot, you already knew that you were my friend, whether you knew it or not. I'd already claimed it.
I know, and I know I see. Funny, we got some Flock J folks here, so let's say hey to Manuel. What's going on? Kristen, she's a new friend as well. So here we go to Tequila. Listen. I'm loving this Flock J energy right now. I'm loving it so much. Thank y'all for being here.
Nothing but the Flock stars in the house. I love it. Oh, I love it.
No, I did. I did do an event with them the other day, and I was over here like Birdman.
What happened to that boy?
100%. Well, hey, listen, Larry, like it's so hard to not know who you are. Like that's what I honestly, truly believe. But maybe for just like anyone who might be tuning in, I would love to hear maybe like what you're doing right now, like how you even got to where you're at right now. So let's start from there, because I've been listening to podcasts, so I know some stuff, but I'm gonna let you tell it first.
I'm gonna give you the Clip Notes version, and yes, I had to pull out the mic. You know how we do. Larry Long Jr., Director of Collegiate Sales at Teamworks, and you know Teamworks makes the dream work. We sell software to elite athletic teams, which I love. I played baseball at Maryland, hence the pink bat. Don't leave home without it. I love technology. I'm a tech geek, and I love sales, and I love leading sales teams. So essentially check, and more check. So, I mean, life is good. That's my day job. On the side, I launched a pandemic baby, I guess you call it. I launched a business in the pandemic, providing motivation, inspiration, sales, keynote speaking, coaching, training, and consulting. You name it. Rolling. We've been blessed.
Listen, we got the greens, the peas, tomatoes, potatoes. We got the motivation, inspiration, acceleration, determination. I'm here for it. So listen, I would love, just to start off, I would love to hear about this pandemic baby, because you talk about motivation, talk about inspiration. I feel like anytime I see anything as it relates to your name, it's like ball of energy, motivation. So like, walk me through why even create something focused on motivation and inspirations, especially for sales?
I had been doing it for years. I just never formalized it. So that's why we got the LLC, so that we can then reach out and touch more people. So my goal, I'm in sales. I've got a goal, is to touch and positively impact 1,020 people. I know some people were like, 1,020? Why so specific? Well, I first said I wanted to impact 1,000 people. Then I did the math, and I'm not good at math, but that's 83.3 per month. I said, I'm not good with decimals. So we'll just make it a whole 85, which works out to 1,020. But it's so important in a pandemic, but even outside of a pandemic, to get your mind right.
Yeah.
And essentially, you got to get that mind, your body, and your soul tight and right if you want to have success in anything, but especially sales. And I'm talking to all the SDRs, BDRs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, LMNOP, whatever you call yourself, those folks that are on the front line that are killing the game. I know you're out there. I've been there before, picking up that 500-pound phone, crafting those targeted, personalized emails. I just encourage you to keep up the awesome work. And to do that, you got to make sure that you're right from within. When you look at that person in the mirror, you got to make sure you're tight and you're right, or it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much I can hit because like I feel like these are the conversations that I'm having with my reps like every single week, right? So I mean, we're in a pandemic, we're in a remote environment. Sales teams, there was once upon a time where we could just be on the floor and you can like feed off that energy, and now there's this like, where's that energy going to come from? Like, and even still, there could be a whole thing around like not everybody's in the best home situation either. So this topic around like motivation and inspiration, I think, becomes that much more essential. But I would be curious to hear from your end, like, is this something that just comes naturally? Was there like a hitting the wall and like you had to learn some kind of way to figure out like, all right, this motivation inspiration piece is going to be essential, but like walk me through the origins of this.
I've been wired like this my whole life. Come on, GB. Now I'll tell you, my father, he was more of an introvert. He didn't get his energy from other people, and that his upbringing in Baltimore City, you always had to be watching your back. But I learned from him and just watching him and his mannerisms to just be blessed and to be fortunate and to be present in every situation, because you never know when that thing's going to be gone. My mom, on the other hand, watch out now. I get it from my mama. She's off the chain, and essentially it runs deep.
Yep.
My son, he's 10x what I am. So, woo! But I've always been like that. Just loving life. I mean, I'll go back. We used to live in Grand Island, Nebraska, and there used to be tornadoes. And I was too young, but essentially we lived in an apartment. You had to go down in the basement. Everyone's scared. And I mean, I've seen the newspaper clippings. You have 7 tornadoes just doing damage. I'm down there happy as can be, skipping around, pinching people. My mom tells the story. So I've been a fool my whole life, but now I can formalize it and I can impact others. Yeah. And I believe that all of us, it's our responsibility to pass it. Keep your droplets to yourself, but pass your positivity, pass your insights, pass any key learnings you have to others. There's no need. Sharing is caring. So I'm just trying to do what I can do to impact others and encourage them to pass it on.
I love it. Yeah. Number one, for everyone here, Larry, I'm gonna let you know as well. I feel like we're gonna cover a lot because I listen, like you're gonna say, I have questions in my head, but you're saying stuff and I'm gonna have questions based off what you're saying. So we're gonna have a real conversation because there's something here even about like sharing is caring. And I've heard, I was listening to one podcast, I can't remember because I've listened to a few, but there was one in particular where you talked about like, when you give, like you receive at like just so much more. Would you care to like maybe share some examples of like how that's played out in your experience professionally?
I'm going through it right now. I'm a living case study. I talked to a gentleman earlier today, and we were talking about the power of video, and we were talking about the power of getting started. But right now, I'm in give mode. And it's just amazing. Everyone wants that magic pixie dust. They want that silver bullet. There is none. But I can tell you that the more you give, the more you receive. I talked yesterday, and I wasn't actively prospecting it. It kind of, the fish just jumped into my boat. A 90,000 person company came to me and said, we heard you were doing an online on-demand sales training class. Tell us more. I said, oh, shucks. How'd the word get out? I'm glad it did, but what you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about?
It's one of those things where when you give without any expectation, it's just amazing how it loops around, and people can tell your genuine desire. They can tell whether you got commission breath. They can smell BS from a mile away. So why not just be authentic? If you don't care about people, don't play like you do. If you say you care about people, and I see companies doing it. Mark Cuban, at the beginning of the pandemic, he said, hey, keep your eyes open. Organizations and individuals during this time are going to let their true colors shine through. I've had my popcorn. I've been eating the popcorn. Actually, I eat kettle corn on the sideline, and I've been taking notes. I've been taking notes. There's a lot of people that are dropping the ball. They're saying one thing, and then they're talking out of the side of their mouth because their actions don't back it up. So,
yeah, no, I mean, that's key. It's funny. Like this might be a little bit of a side, but I promise that's a point. Like, I've been in conversations where like, it's like, how do you launch a cold call, for example? So something as little as like, do you qualify for time? Like, do you ask someone how they're doing? And so my thought was like, I was like, and this is also influenced by the fact that I lived in France for a couple years, and I had a French beau and everything. And I remember we were in a Walgreens in Chicago one day, and the cashier had asked him like, "Hey, how's your day going?" And he looked at me and he's like, "What's happening? Like, what do you?" And I was like, "He just asked you how your day is going." He's like, "Listen, in France, like, we're only going to ask that question if we actually have the time and the space to listen. Like, you're only going to ask a question, 'Hey, how are you doing?' if you actually care about how this person is doing and if you'll hold the space for them to share." So like so I brought that thought to my call. So people are like, "Oh, why don't you ask people how they're doing?" And I was like, because I'm like, not to say that I don't care about them, but I was like, the purpose of this call is to really like find out if it makes sense to continue the conversation. If once I've actually built rapport with them and everything, and then afterwards we've established some level of rapport, some level of shared reality, then yes, I'm gonna ask them how they're doing every single day. Like, don't get me wrong, but like a cold call from the get-go, I was like, listen, if I ask them how they're doing and they give me 10 minutes, like, and we have done nothing, I was like, I don't know. Like, that to me might not be the best use of my time, but that's me. And I knew that about myself. So I'm like, that's why I don't ask that question. But if other people are like, "No, I genuinely care," I'm like, ask away.
You got to find what works for you. And I love it. It's kind of like, I apologize. I use a lot of sports analogies. Luckily, I work for a company now where we're in sports, where I can use sports analogies and people don't look at me like, what in the world? But it's kind of like baseball.
Yeah.
There's some people that like the elbow up. Some people like it down. Some people like this. That's the great thing about sales, about business, and about life. There's not just one way that works. You've got to find your style. And I'll give you a quick example. My first professional sales job, coming out of a failed business, 150 cold calls a day, picking up that phone to CPAs and accountants, getting it in, getting bopped over the head. I started off being official. "Hello, this is Larry Long Jr. calling from SageWorks. Can I click?" He sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had a leader. He wasn't my manager, but James Hatfield, I'll never forget him. He said, "Larry, come in here." He said, "Dude, you got to be yourself. Like, you're not the bow tie, button up kind of guy. Hello, this is," he said, "now, you don't want to take it all the way to the extreme, the way that you talk to your homeboys, but find that happy medium." People. And if you just talk to them like people, now you're better. You're able to better make that connection.
Yeah, no, that's big time. And I see some folks in the chat. Amy, kill the small talk, especially in the Northeast. My first territory was the Northeast. So I was like, I was like, "GB don't play. GB don't play. Listen, Susan, I'll ask you how your day is after you give me this referral. Thank you."
First things first.
I'm trying to get to the point. So no. I know we had talked about this during our prep call earlier this week, like this exact example of like really finding your voice in your role in sales. As I mentioned, like I'm managing SDRs, leading SDRs. I started off as an SDR. And one of the things that I see folks struggle the most with, especially as they first come to a company, and especially if it's their first sales job, is they're like, "I need to be by the book. I got to go by the script." And I think this is accentuated that much more in a pandemic, like in a remote setting, because you don't actually get to see other reps, how they're actually doing things. So it's like, I've had some reps on my team where it took them 3 months to start figuring out, "Hey, here's how I'm going to ask questions in a way that feels really genuine and authentic to me." I'd be curious to hear from your end, because going through that transition of, all right, hey, like, this is Larry from SageWorks, right? Like, to, all right, I'm finding that balance. What helped you to get there? Or maybe what kind of advice would you give to folks who might be about to start a sales career and finding their own genuine voice in their role.
Yeah, I was lucky and blessed to have a leader that cared about me, who took me aside and said, hey, let's go ahead and do some role play. And I know that might be a naughty word, role play, but essentially it's confidence building. It's getting in those reps over and over where you've got the microphone and now it's like riding a bike. You've done it so many times. So I don't know if Allen Iverson is tuned in, but yes, Allen, we're talking about practice, not the game. You want to be ready for the game. So you got to practice and you got to put in that work. I'll give you a real quick tip. I hope everyone has a smartphone. Now, if you're still using a flip phone, I'm going to pray for you. You still got the BlackBerry with the trackball. But essentially these phones, you can record yourself. Why not use it? There's other companies out there that do conversation intelligence, from what I understand, where you can hear what you're saying and you can go to the drawing board and you can tweak your approach. Yes, that gong. That's what I'm talking about now.
Don't tell sales hacker.
Show them what you're working with. But essentially, you've got to practice. And what I found is that practice breeds confidence. It's like the more you practice, the luckier you get. The more you practice, you can now say it with your chest, and then you can freestyle. If you're not ready, now you've got the script and you're like, and then they throw something at you. You're like, I don't know. I mean, I'll give you an example. I had a guy up in New Jersey who said, hey, Larry, here goes what I want you to do. I thought I was about to get the demo booked. I said, oh, shucks. Don't hurt him, Larry. He said, I want you to put on a pair of concrete shoes and jump off a bridge. I said, goodly muggly. That's savage. I didn't know. I tried to go to the manual real quick. I was like, how do you overcome that objection? I don't know where that one is. So halfway asking him a question, halfway making a statement, I said, God bless you too. What do you say to that? But essentially, I'll never forget Casey Gallo. He was like, hey, on to the next one.
On to the next one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've definitely had those calls where someone's like, you know what? It's not your fault. You suck. And I was like, what?
Tell me how you really feel.
They're like, listen. They're like, listen, I blame this on your management.
There's some savages out there. Woo! There's some people that are just mad at life. And what I've learned is you can't control that. All you can do is control your I call it tea. And I'm in North Kakalaki. We'll call it sweet tea. You can control how you treat other people. You can control your emotions, and you can control your attitude and your actions. So essentially, I'm drinking sweet tea all day. Actually, I'm drinking water. I'm trying to cut down on the sugar. I might explode if I keep eating all this sugar and fried chicken, but that's for a different day.
Yes. No, this is amazing. I know there's one question, and then we'll kind of get back to something I'm thinking of, but I'd love to get your answer on this as well. So I know this question was for me. What if you've done your research to, this is responding to not asking someone how they're doing. That's my approach. What if you've done your research, you genuinely care, you love asking that question, since you won't call unless you know enough about the business and the person that you're trying to speak with? Like, Larry, what do you think about this one?
I say, hey, do you, boo-boo?
Yeah.
Do you. Yeah. You got to find what works for you. Just because this works, or the approach that GB takes, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I would encourage you to check the data. The data doesn't lie. So do it your way. See out of 100, how many engagements do you get? How much do you put up on the scoreboard? And then give a different approach a chance and horse race it. Essentially see which one is gonna provide you the best results, because you might be surprised that even though this is your style, this other style might suit you better. The numbers don't lie. And if you're honest and you take an honest look, you give it a good college try, I think is what they call it, you'll see which approach is going to be best.
Yeah, 100%. Like I don't like asking the question, because I'll be real with you. Like, I was like, I might not genuinely care in the way that I've kind of been brought up to care when I ask that question, right? So if I ask my friend, like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, how are you really doing today? And it's like, I want to hold space for that. When I'm calling someone, the things that I'm really going to care about, like how they're doing and whatnot, it's like, I'm curious about their processes. I'm curious about how that impacts them. I'm curious about like what could be possible for them and how they feel about that. So that to me is like when I start asking more questions that relate more so to that. But like I wouldn't ask the question and expect for them to give me their whole life story. Like but that's me personally, based off of the experience that I've had living in France was a huge part of that. Because love French people, but they're not Americans. So
parlez-vous français?
Oui, toi?
Nah, that's the only thing. My dad used to say it around the house. That's the only thing I know how to say in French.
Yeah. I would we got a question here from David, and again, I've been listening to some of these podcasts that you've been featured on. How do you feel about mirroring your prospect style instead of using your own? So from what I've heard, right, you're like, hey, listen, like Larry Long Jr. is one thing, but sometimes you got to go Larry Long. So would you maybe like walk people through that?
Hey, David, you gotta be authentically you, but you also got to use common sense. And what I learned is sometimes common sense isn't all too common. But hey, once again, you got to test. I mean, essentially, for me, if I'm calling the Northeast, I might need to speed up and get straight to the point. Maybe. I mean, I got to feel that out. You got to read the room. You got to kind of know your surroundings. You got to be able to feel people and read people. If I'm calling into Louisiana, I might need to slow it down, and I might need to play up my I used to live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, so I can play up that drawl if you need me to. I'm talking country where I'm able to, hey, people like to work with people that they know, like, and trust. So yes, I believe that there's a balance between mirroring and matching, but also being authentically you. Yeah. And I can tell you that authentically me is not, hello, this is Larry Long Jr. Like it's not me. I sound like a robot. People are like, what in the heck is wrong with this guy? Is that even a real person, or is this a recording? What the heck? So I would say it's all about balance, but also about figuring out what's right for you, what's right for you in your heart, what's right for you in your head, what's right for you in your approach, and then check the data. I hate to say it, but check the Carfax.
Check the Carfax. There's find the words, but because here's what
GB, are you there? I don't know. Did my Wi-Fi go out? Uh-oh. Am I still here?
I think this mirroring, or I kind of call it attunement. All right.
Can you hear me? I think I broke the internet. I'm sorry. Am I playing the mannequin challenge? Larry, you're shaking.
No, it was me. It was me.
I know I'm crazy, but I said, oh, Lordy.
Oh, it was, no, I don't even know where I left off, but then I saw that like spinning circle of death that was like connection issues. And I'm like, Xfinity, come back.
It's all good. It's all good. I know how it is to be on that struggle-fi instead of that Wi-Fi. But you know what? What we've learned over the past coming up on a year is the importance of being flexible. And I see that you frozen, GB, and you got that fierce look just, ugh. So I'm going to take over. Hey, I got the gold mic. If y'all can still hear me, shoot, let's rock and roll. What questions do you have? Tequila. Yeah, I don't drink tequila, but I see you're in the house. What questions do we have? Go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll go ahead, and we're going to keep this show on the road. Can y'all still hear me? Struggle-fi. Yeah, holla if you hear me. We're going to keep this show rolling. What's on your mind? I mean, I'm a big fan of mindset, making sure that you have that mindset, making sure you have that motivation. When you get hit with an obstacle, like right now, where GB is just so fierce, we got to, she disappeared. Giving a shout out to our Comcast. Comcast. I wish I could have gotten a picture of her just frozen. If someone took a picture, send it to me. But I want to say thank you to everyone joining. Submit your questions. Let me know what I can answer. Yeah, I know you can hear me as loud as I am. I don't even need a gold mic. I don't even need a black mic. Holla if you hear me. Struggle 5. What's up, Ellis? Appreciate you. No doubt. No doubt. So I'll just go off the top. I'll just share with you. I mean, we're going through tough times, but if you think about it, times are always tough. We're always going to get hit with challenges. Tequila, I love it. What things do you do to sustain all that energy? Well, first, when GB's in the house, that gives me energy right there. You done broke the internet.
Listen, Larry, thank you so much.
We're keeping this thing rolling.
I appreciate. I was like, if there's anybody to have like internet malfunctions with, it's you.
For me, my energy comes from within, and I get energy from other people, being around other people, helping other people. So great question, Tequila. You got to find where your energy comes from. Larry, first of all, I love your name. How do you decide when to speed up a pitch? It's a feel. It's essentially, it's a feel. It's one of those, we're all people. And we all know, we've all been in sales processes where it just didn't feel right, where it felt off. I try my best to make it a comfortable situation, whether it's top of funnel and I'm cold calling, whether it's the demo, wherever it is. That's what I try to do. Jared, my man, coming in from Trinidad and Tobago. Great to see you. I'm going to give the mic back to GB. I'm sorry I took over.
Listen, I'm happy you are. I'm over here like, if I need to, I will go on my phone. Like, I got Respring pulled up. Listen, we gonna make it happen.
Oh, no doubt. I see Mayank asked, wanted to know if cold calling is dead. It's funny you mentioned that because 3 years ago, we hosted an event asking, is cold calling dead? And the verdict was 100%. Heck to the nah. Nah. Cold calling is not dead. This phone, this 500-pound phone, it better be your best friend if you want to have success. And here goes why. This is just my thought process. Some people are never going to open an email. Some people are never going to open social. And some people will never even take your call. But you're now giving yourself the best chance. When you call, you double click and you send an email. You triple click, you hit them on social. You quadruple click, you send them a handwritten note. You quintuple it, I think it is, click, and you send them a lumpy mailer. You hit them with the 6. I don't know if that's septuplet. You now hit them with a referral. And now all of a sudden you got them surrounded. You're hitting them everywhere. They look up at the billboard, you're there. They look on their cereal box, you're there. They're on the internet, you're following them everywhere. It's like, whoa, Larry Long Jr. is everywhere. What in the world? So you better pick up that phone as a part of your mix. And then you also better get creative on the phone. Voicemail messages. Hello, this is Larry calling from Acme Company. Just wanted to call to check. Survey says, nerd. You got to kill that. People ain't got time for that. I mean, shoot, we live in an entertainment. You better come with something that's a little bit better. That's something that hits me from the heart. Something that makes me smile a little bit. I think they call it self-deprecating humor. People are people. Shoot, you can make a dig at the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You can make a dig about yourself. I mean, you got to switch it up and you have to differentiate. But no, cold calling is not dead. It's alive.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, if you compete in the same market as Gong, yes, cold calling is dead. Don't call. Leave it like wide open. Green fields for the people who are calling. So hell yeah, cold calling is dead. Don't try it. Makes my job a lot easier. That's honestly it. But funny enough, actually, I did a cold calling competition a few weeks ago.
You won it. I heard. Shoot, come on now. You think you got that by me? The champ is here.
Yeah. So in 1 hour, granted, it was through Connect and Sell. So I had a parallel assisted dialer, but I had 9 conversations. I think I had like 2 follow-up meetings being set. I got a couple referrals. So I mean, like I said, for me, I find that cold calling is still the most powerful tool in an SDR's toolbox. It's too easy. It's too easy to send an email. It's so easy to send a LinkedIn. to me, it's also really easy to pick up a phone and differentiate myself. It's really easy for me to pick up the phone, and I'm a talker. So I was like, I can type a message over to Larry, or I can send him an audio message. For me, I feel better when I'm talking. So I can process things better when I'm talking. And then also when I think about even the connection that I can make with someone, even though it's over a phone, like that to me, I can actually establish a better relationship. So I might not get a meeting the first time I call them, but they know who I am. They know.
Uh-oh, it ain't my fault. Did I do that? She done blown up the internet again. I love it. Can y'all hear me? I'm gonna keep this thing rolling. In a relation to everything that has been said about not asking how someone is, are you using how are you? How have you been as a pattern interrupt within the introduction, or do you find it it all depends on how you come through. It's all about how you come through. So you got to record yourself, go back to the tape, play Monday morning quarterback, and think, hey, how do I sound? You need to ask your friends and family, hey, can you give me your honest opinion?
Know my voice.
Uh-oh. She done disappeared again. I love it. We're gonna roll this thing. I'm taking over. SDR Hotline. That's what I'm talking about. Anthony, I appreciate it, AC. How effective are handwritten letters? Truly effective. The company I used to make 150 calls every day. We used to have to do 25 handwritten notes, and it switches up the script on them. Uh-oh, I hear myself. I hear an echo. I don't like to hear my own voice, but how do you get the phone numbers of people when doing outbound? Don't see phone numbers on LinkedIn. Larry, LT, you're absolutely right. Sometimes people will put it in there, but people got hip to the game. You got to become a detective. You got to get creative. I mean, LT, I can't see you, but you got to put your thinking cap on and figure it. I'm going to call it FITFO. You got to figure it the freak out on how you get phone numbers. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm creative. I might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Plus, there's services out there that can provide you with direct dials. So just use your creativity. If you need help, holla at your boy LT. I like your first name. Kristen, energy is amazing. Your energy is amazing. And Tequila is a no-limit soldier. I thought I told you. Uh-oh. We're going to make it be an HR violation up in here. I better put this mic down. I got to drop the mic. Welcome back, GB.
I just switched to my phone and Verizon because Xfinity just doesn't know how to act. And
it's all good.
And Andre's over here texting me, being like, 2021, welcome to it. I'm like, thank you, Andre. Thank you, Andre. Listen, I'll see what I missed on my own show in the recordings.
It is all good. It is all good. Oh, Muhammad, Faya. I'm about to start my first sales development role. Any tips? I'm going to get started. I'm going to give you a couple tips. If possible, talk to some current clients. If you get a chance, talk to some current clients, just have a conversation. Hey, how are we doing for you? Hey, talk to me about your process before you ended up moving forward with our company. Okay, take notes and dig in. Hey, talk to me about what life has been like afterwards. And now you're building that bridge, you're building that bond. And I think GB talked about references. Hey, who else should I be talking to? Yeah. I know you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Who can you make an intro? People like to help people that they know, they like, and they trust. And if you take the time to actually ask them about their experience, chances are they're going to be like, yep, let me send you over here. Yep, let me send you over there. That's really what makes things roll. What do you think, GB?
Yeah, I think the references piece is key. I've been a part of Kevin Dorsey's Patreon for a little bit, and he actually has an exercise that he has all his new reps go through, which is going in and interviewing customers. Essentially, you can work with leadership to see if and how they can line up interviews for you. If you're not at a company that will introduce you to customers, Kayla Citron-Taylor, I'm sure I'm butchering her last name here. She's over at Domino Data, I believe. But one of the things that she'll do is she'll actually look at her prospecting list, choose, let's say, like 10 people who fit the perfect persona. And it's not a prospecting call, but she'll just reach out to them and say, hey, I just started an SDR role over here. I'm new to the industry, and I'm really just looking to learn. and I love what Larry is saying. Like, something that's incredibly powerful is the phrase, help me understand, or can you, like, would you be open to helping me? So if we come in and just say, hey, listen, I'm really just looking to learn because I want to be relevant to somebody like you, more often than not, people will make time to help. So those are a couple things that I would recommend. And then if you're not comfortable with that, I hope you are. There's other options like reaching out to the salespeople who are at the company, especially for the folks who've been successful. What is it that helped them get to be successful? Like, what are they doing, of course, in the 9 to 5, but also what are they doing during the 5 to 9 to prepare themselves to be as successful as possible? So those are the pieces that I have.
I love it. All great points. I'm going to also encourage you to really start with a 5-point plan. And my reps still do this. I'm doing this. I'm trying to build my knowledge. First, if you're new, you want to get a foundational knowledge on these 5 tools. Number 1 is the company you work for. Do you understand the who, what, when, where, why, and how that they roll, their core values, their mission, their vision, and how you as an individual fit into that? Number 2 is the industry or industries that you serve. Just trying to gobble up as much knowledge as you can. Number 3, the product. Understanding the product as best as you can, as quickly as you can. If you can immerse yourself in the product from a user standpoint, woo! Number 4, tools and resources, which DB talked about. Internal tools, external tools. Who are your allies? Who are those people that are movers and shakers in the industry? Who should you be following? And then number 5 is the technical sales skills, essentially your time management, pipeline management, your discovery, your prospecting. That's where I would start right there, building on those 5 kind of tools. There was a question that hit me hard. It was talking about mental health. And I think this is something that needs to be addressed. If it's okay, can I say something on it real quick, GB?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
In today's world, you've got to take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. Number one. There's plenty of jobs out there. There's just one you. If you don't take care of yourself, I'm telling you, you've got to take care of yourself. And I don't like to preach. I don't like to prescribe. Everyone is different, but your mental health comes number 1. Your well-being, the saying, your health is your wealth. It's so true. We hear countless stories of rich people, of famous people that aren't fulfilled. They're not happy. They leave this earth and they haven't been able to enjoy it. So I encourage you, number 1, take care of it. Now, the question is how? How do you do it? You got to find what works for you. For me, it's my family. It's my friend. It's that interpersonal connection, relationships. It's golf. I get joy from golf. But you got to find what works for you, whether it's meditation, yoga, exercise, working out. And then you got to do you. You have to prioritize it. I talk about time management, where you spend your time. It lets me know what's important to you. So you have to prioritize it. And like Nike said, just do it. We all know this, but knowing isn't doing it. So I encourage you to do it. Make sure you get a network of support, of friends, family that can support you along the way. And if there's anything I can do to help, you got the line. You got the line. Just hit me up.
The mental health piece, this is a great question because how to put I have a cousin of mine who's, I'd imagine she's probably in her late 50s, early 60s. She had been in sales for like 20, 30, 40 years. And me personally, I've actually like suffered like a nervous breakdown that was induced by like just like a work environment. And when I was talking, so again, I'm talking to my cousin, her name's Braun, when I was telling her about this, and she's like, what we don't talk about enough in sales is just how common like mental health challenges are in the field and in the profession of sales. And I think there's going to be so many different reasons why. There could be the fact that it's like, it's almost like facing constant rejection. And if we put if we put all of our self-worth in our in our ability to hit quota, if we put so much of our self-worth into essentially external factors, and we're not first and foremost recognizing our own value and accepting our own value and recognizing and believing in our own value, then we're always going to fall victim. We're always going to be susceptible to the ups and downs, like the extreme highs and lows. So in terms of like maintaining mental health, what I would recommend is really like, how to put this, like really knowing who you are as a person outside of anything external, outside of relationships, outside of your profession, outside of your career, outside of like how much money you are or are not making. But if you know to like your absolute core who you are and how valuable you are and how limitless you are and how you're connected with everything and anything, and there is no separation between you and what you're wanting, between you and what you're desiring and what you are deserving, then that can help, like that can help balance everything out. So there's other things, there's other practice that people can start to implement into their day-to-day or week-to-week. So making self-care and and cultivating self-esteem part of one's practice, part of one's self-work. So that means journaling or everything that Taylor just said, meditating or contemplating, going for a walk or calling your friends or talking to your mom or whatever else it is, whatever it is that gives you life, that helps you recognize like, all right, wow, each day, regardless of how good or bad it is meaningful, then these are the things to me that can help balance things out and make having a career in sales a sustainable effort versus one that's kind of with volatility.
So true. I love it. I'll give you I'll give you just something you can do. I did it when I was 6. My mom made me do it. We would say our prayer at night, and then she would make me sit up and say, I am somebody 10 times out loud. And if you say that 365 days, 10 nights, that's a whole lot. I'm not good at math, but there's a whole bunch of zeros behind it. You start to believe that you are somebody and you are worthy, which you are. There was another question that came in from Rob, and I hope we provided. I want to say thank you to Amy for providing some great resources in terms of mental health, because it is so important taking care of ourselves. But Rob asked, should he spend his time and attention on his strengths, shoring up his strengths, or on strengthening his weaknesses? And hey, Rob, I'm guilty as charged. I'm selfish. I want it all. Both. Where your superpowers, let's make them even more super. And then your weaknesses, let's elevate your game. So when I look at those 5 categories, let's say I'm a 6, I'm a 3, I'm a 8, I'm another 6. Essentially, I'm trying to take each and every one of those just up a notch. If I can get 1% better, whoa, dynamite, like JJ Walker said. So I encourage you to do both. Strengthen your strengths and strengthen your weaknesses. That's it at its core.
I got one thought on this. Sorry, I'm on a mobile device and it's over here like mobile device support is limited. Just to a desktop computer for the best experience. I'm like, listen, you're the best right now. Okay? So, you're the best I got, mobile. Thank you very much. I don't think they're how to put this, like, to be well-rounded, right? It helps to understand one's strengths and be aware of one's weaknesses. What I've seen, and this is something that I try to be mindful of as someone who's leading people or managing folks and responsible for training and coaching, is if we're only focusing on weaknesses and we're not actually recognizing people's strengths, like there's such thing as like constructive feedback that's critical, but there's also constructive feedback that's positive. So for example, like I say, hey Larry, here's what I really like. You did this very well, and let me tell you why and how you did this very, very well. Versus it only being, hey, I think you did well, but here's where you need to improve. Because like if you're constantly being poked at, then like it's like I think there's an opportunity to actually discourage someone. So it's like while we're in pursuit of becoming stronger and being aware of our weaknesses, I would say kind of almost like be the silver like the experience of only focusing on weaknesses if you're susceptible to those kind of things.
Agreed. Oh my goodness. I want to say thank you to the crowd. Oh, Nikki, don't do that to me. You're making me blush. He's talking about the bow tie. My wife told me don't do it, but I'm a fool. It's Friday. We're going to make it a fantastic Friday with a bow tie. Oh, goodness.
Let's
What else is on people's mind? I know this is the hotline. Let's make it hot. What are some hot topics? Hit me with your best shot. I love it. Anything you got? Anything, GB, from the audience? Any past questions?
Listen, I'm working on. Your girl's working with phone right now. So I'm trying my best. I know there was a few questions that I had seen, I believe, from Sawyer a little while back, but let's see. Well, there's a lot of comments, so I'm gonna have to scroll a bit.
It is all good. It is all good. And I just want to share to the SDRs out there just how important you are. If you don't know it, and if your organization hasn't told you, if your leaders haven't told you, you are the engine that runs the company. Without you, it's kind of like, what are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers without Tom Brady? Y'all are the quarterback that's really dropping dimes. Y'all are dropping dimes for the organization to go. So don't let anyone tell you SDR, BDR isn't important, because from what I've seen is a lot of times AEs, they can't do what you do. They done lost their way. They might have worked as an SDR before, then they got a little taste of being an AE and they said, "Oh, I don't need to do that." But you better always be prospecting. Always be filling the funnel and filling your pipe. I think the great John Barrows says it best. The cure for any ills in sales is a big, fat pipe. And it's funny because I just met with my VP of sales and we were talking about how right now we don't have a big, fat pipe. So, you guys called me. Whoa, I'm sweating. I need some SDRs to come help me out. I need a big, fat pipe. I'm waving the white flag. Come and help a brother out.
Larry, I have so much love for you. I was like, I feel like honestly, any other day, I would be absolutely mortified right now, but I've been thoroughly enjoying this entire experience of just seeing you run with it and provide information, provide insights. I have so much love and appreciation and gratitude for you. And even more like what you just shared about, listen, SDRs out there, folks who are aspiring to be SDRs, anyone in sales development, leader or rep, whatever else it is. There's definitely haters. Like there are definitely folks who, for whatever reason, either choose not to or who just can't appreciate the role of sales development rep. So to hear someone come on here and just on your own volition share a good word to inspire some folks and to let folks know, I love it. So thank you so much for that.
I'm keeping it real, and that's why I have nothing but love for my lead generators that are out there, that are on the front lines, getting it in, putting in that work. It's the hard rowing, and essentially it's sometimes selfless. You're busting your butt, you're getting it in, you're getting rejected, and you got to move on to the next one. That right there is going to impact you for the positive for your entire life. And as long as you can do that, you'll never be without an opportunity. I can't guarantee you much, but I can guarantee that as long as you can do that, you'll always have a place somewhere, because that's how business rolls. That's how you keep the lights on. If you don't set the table, then, now I see LZ, Larry Zapata. He asked, how do you handle the COVID-19 question? And we're in it. We're all in it. This thing, it really, for me, it's humanized. And people talk about empathy. We should have been showing empathy before. I mean, when I think about sales, I can't speak for you, but when I think about sales, I think our role is to play matchmaker. We're matching our product, our service, our thoughts, and or ideas, whatever we have, with someone else's needs, their wants, their desires, their challenges, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. If you don't have empathy, how are you going to understand what's going on in their world? Here goes. I got a fire question for you. I've got 2 fire questions. Number 1, Larry, walk me through your process, ... And then from there, I can double click, I can triple click, but I'm just trying to get into your mindset. I'm trying to get into, hey, why do you do it that way? How long have you been doing it that way? Who else does this impact? I can go so many different ways from that one question. And then the second question, Get ready for it. I'm about to drop it on you. What's holding you back? Boop. ... What's holding you back? ... That's that fire right there. So essentially, if you have those two questions in your back pocket, in your side pocket, blah, blah, that's that fire. So that would be my recommendation. COVID-19, it is what it is. Or it's kind of like my golf game. It is what it was. It's here. But in terms of staying positive, COVID-19 doesn't have anything to do on my positivity. I control that. I control whether I'm positive or negative. I can turn on the news right now, and there's some craziness going on. My parents used to work in D.C. I choose not to. I choose that I'm not going to watch the news. I'm going to fill myself with positivity. There's a reason why I talked to GB earlier. Why I talked to GB earlier this week, over the weekend, because I'm trying to surround myself with positive. And essentially, if you fill yourself with positive, you got to be a special person and not be able to exude that positivity. I call it, you are what you eat. So I guess that makes me a fried chicken from Bojangles, but hey, that's neither here nor there. I just try to fill myself with as much positive people, content, books, podcasts, music, you name it.
Listen, you are silly, and I love it, and I'm happy. I will tell you this, y'all. Larry's a real one. He reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey, GB, how are you doing?" And I was going through some changes, nothing too serious. And he's like, "Anything I can do for you?" And I was like, honestly, I just thought about it. And I was like, here's this person who reminds me every day that I have a choice in the matter. And if I'm feeling down and whatnot, and I'm surrounded myself with people who are also going to entertain that downness, like, I'm probably going to keep on being down. But to be around someone like Larry, who's like, he'll listen, he'll hype, he'll encourage those things, it definitely motivates me to like figure out a way to up level my ability to inspire myself and motivate myself, and in doing that, be able to do that for others too. So honestly,
I know we only, I'm sorry to take over again. This is the takeover, the LLJR takeover. But essentially, I have a third question, and we're all leaders. I don't care what your title is. We all have the opportunity to lead. Here goes a third question. How can I help? And that's not just to your prospects, to your clients, but also your colleagues and your coworkers. That simple question right there, especially if you mean it. Don't ask it if you don't mean it. That comes off as disingenuous. I can't even spell that word, but it sounds good. Disingenuous. You don't want to be disingenuous. But essentially, how can I help? And then be present. That means the world. Even if the person doesn't know how you can help them right now, just you opening that door, that you're a special person. If you can do that consistently, and then if there is something you can help, if you can deliver on it, come on now.
100%. I know we're winding down on time here. As much as I would, honestly, I guess I could leave Larry, since it's the Larry Long Jr. takeover. You could keep going if you wanted to.
I got to pull the gold mic, because every day, and I lost. We had to put my dog down yesterday. Super sad. That was my road dog, Shaq. I'm afraid of dogs. I got bit when I was younger, but Shaq, he was a 4.8-pound Pomeranian. That was my dog. My wife loves dogs. She likes big dogs. I said, nah, we got to compromise. But we had to put him down, and I'm sad. I'm just sad. I was crying. My wife was crying. My kids were crying. But then we said, hey, this weekend, we're going to do a project to look through all of our pictures and find the best Shacky Boo pictures. And we're going to put together a collage so that we can heal. And bad stuff happens every day. I mean, it's a part of life. With life, there's death. With the good, there's bad. But you can control how you handle those situations. And essentially, we've been trying our best. We've been intentional to focus on the positives. So he's not with us anymore physically, but he's always going to be a part of our family. I lost my dad 5.5 years ago. Biggest loss of my life. He's with me every day. So intentionality and really being clear about who you are and what you're about and your why will lead you to just fulfillment beyond belief. I can guarantee you that. I can't guarantee a lot of things, but really being, and GB mentioned it earlier, your job doesn't define you. I'm Larry Long. I'm an employee at Teamworks. That's a part of me. But I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a friend. I'm a gopher. I'm trying to be a golfer, but I can't throw the L in there yet. I'm a gopher. I'm a fool. I'm a out of work comedian. I mean, that's what defines me. So you got to find what defines you, own it, and continue to look for ways to up level. So I know that we've got 2 minutes left. I just encourage each and every one of y'all to carpe diem, seize each and every day, each and every moment, because we don't know when our finish line is going to come. And for me, I want to feel good that if my finish line were to come right this second, that I had a positive impact on this earth and on the people that I've had the opportunity and the privilege to interact with. I encourage you to do the same. So that's my parting shot on the SDR hotline. You got to call me on my cell phone. Don't get me singing. I'm going to make some people cry up in here.
Listen, Larry, that's the mic drop moment. That's the mic drop moment. All right, Larry. I know I got to close up. I got to prep for this next meeting. But honestly, like, thank you so much for being here. And also, like, a big thank you to everyone who is here. I feel like this has been the most, I'm not surprised, but this has been the most active the SDR hotline has ever been. So thank y'all for coming in, for having questions, for participating. And Larry, I can't wait to talk to you next. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace.
Bye.